Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, frankly fundamental, paradigm shift that's happening right now in how critical infrastructure gets built. Specifically, we're looking at hospital infrastructure procurement. Now, building a modern medical facility is an incredibly complex beast of a project, and the way leadership teams are sourcing their equipment, it's fundamentally changing. And honestly, this matters, because getting this right saves literally millions of dollars and, ultimately, patient lives. So I am absolutely thrilled to break down the data for you and share exactly why this shift is happening. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. When a hospital management team sits down to plan a brand new setup, they immediately hit this one monumental decision. Should we buy all the equipment from one single company, or should we purchase each item separately from a whole bunch of different vendors? It's the ultimate dilemma, right? Specialization versus consolidation. Now, at first glance, the answer might seem totally obvious. The common expectation is that shopping around and buying things separately is cheaper and gives you way better choices. You compare prices, you cherry-pick what looks like the absolute best product in each individual category, and boom, you save money. You essentially build this sort of Frankenstein's monster out of the best parts. But the reality is completely different. Turnkey solutions, buying the whole package from one place, are actually winning. In practice, across massive projects, hospitals are increasingly abandoning that piecemeal approach. Instead, they're leaning heavily toward complete packages from a single, trusted company. So, to understand exactly why these turnkey solutions are becoming the absolute industry standard, we're going to walk through 5 specific realities: the procurement dilemma, streamlining project timelines, seamless equipment integration, solving service and maintenance, and finally, the real cost equation.
All right, let's start with number 1. The procurement dilemma, or basically the challenge of managing many vendors.
Just imagine the absolute headache of coordinating separate vendors for every single category in a new hospital. You've got one company providing operating theater tables, a completely different company for the OT lights, another vendor entirely for the Central Sterile Services Department, or CSSD, yet another for the medical gas pipelines, somebody else for the hospital furniture, and oh yeah, another entirely for the nurse call systems. It's like trying to schedule 5 different delivery trucks to the exact same loading dock on the exact same day. Coordinating the installation, delivery, service, and literally mountains of documentation across all of them is utterly chaotic. But when you flip that and go with a single solution provider, the hospital gets one dedicated point of contact. Communication instantly becomes simpler, vastly faster, and just infinitely more manageable. The chaos just completely disappears. Moving right along to our second reality: streamlining project timelines to achieve a faster hospital setup.
You see, hospital construction doesn't just happen all at once. It follows an incredibly strict timeline of dependencies. You start with Step 1, civil work. Then you move to Step 2, electrical and HVAC systems. Step 3 is gas pipelines. And finally, Step 4, equipment installation. Now notice how Step 4 is entirely dependent on the first 3 steps being completed perfectly. This creates a really dangerous domino effect. Let's say one specialized vendor is late delivering the gas pipelines. Well, now the equipment installers for the anesthesia workstations are literally just left standing around. One single delay ripples through the whole chain, blowing up the budget and pushing back the opening date. But when one single company manages the complete project, everyone is working toward the exact same objective. The electrical team is perfectly synced up with the equipment team. This unified approach makes project management vastly more efficient. It completely eliminates those bottlenecks and often leads to much faster installation and a way earlier commissioning of the facility.
Which brings us to number 3, seamless equipment integration.
And this integration factor brilliantly illustrates why teamwork between devices is so critical today. Modern medical equipment is incredibly advanced, and different systems absolutely must talk to each other flawlessly to achieve a shared objective. Take OT lights and operating tables, for example. They have to be perfectly synchronized. Imagine a surgeon needing to tilt the operating table during a really complex procedure. The OT lights need to automatically adjust to maintain perfect visibility without anyone having to manually reset them. Furthermore, medical gas pipelines must integrate safely and seamlessly with anesthesia workstations. The entire CSSD workflow is tied directly to operation theater requirements. And those nurse call systems, they have to lock into the broader hospital communication network securely. When these complex products are patched together from half a dozen different vendors, the risk of compatibility issues just skyrockets. You end up with a surgical team delayed just because the table software refuses to talk to the lights. But when they come from one single solution provider, those issues are virtually eliminated. The systems are literally designed from the ground up to speak the exact same language. Next up, the aftermath reality. Section 4. Solving service and maintenance for reliable backup support.
So securing reliable service backup after the installation is actually one of the most critical challenges hospitals face. When a complex integrated system breaks down and the equipment comes from a bunch of multiple vendors, simply identifying the root cause of the problem becomes a massive headache. It's kind of like calling your internet provider when the Wi-Fi goes down, and they immediately blame your router company, who then, of course, blames the internet provider. As our source material pretty bluntly puts it, sometimes each company blames another. Vendor A says it's vendor B's software, vendor B insists it's vendor A's hardware. It becomes this absolute nightmare scenario where passing the buck actively delays vital repairs. And look, in a hospital setting, a delayed repair on life-saving equipment directly and negatively threatens patient care. That is a huge deal.
But when you use a single solution provider, you unlock this incredible peace of mind for the entire facility. You get one single point of contact. Instead of tracking down 6 different service reps, you have just one service team to call, one unified maintenance schedule to track across all departments, and one single partner for your annual maintenance contracts. And the result? You get significantly faster response times and absolute accountability. There is literally zero finger pointing because, well, there's no one else to point fingers at. The single vendor owns the entire ecosystem, ensuring that if something goes wrong, they are fully 100% responsible for fixing it. And that allows hospital management to focus purely on providing excellent healthcare rather than playing mediator between arguing maintenance contractors.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, the real cost equation and better cost planning.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is how it completely shatters a deeply held myth. We just naturally assume that pitting multiple vendors against each other to buy individual items will always be cheaper. I mean, I definitely thought that. It seems like basic economics, right? But taking a holistic look at the data reveals a completely different reality. When you actually factor in the long-term real-world costs of a massive infrastructure project, that piecemeal approach rarely ends up saving money for the hospital's bottom line.
When hospitals commit to purchasing a complete package from a single provider, they unlock a whole series of unexpected financial advantages. First off, scale brings massive package discounts. By bundling major systems together, hospitals secure far better overall pricing than they ever could buying unit by unit. Second, logistics costs absolutely plummet. You aren't paying separate shipping, handling, and warehousing fees for a dozen different companies. And then there is the ultimate hidden cost saver: easier documentation and warranty management. It turns out, the hidden administrative costs of managing separate vendors can completely wipe out those initial piecemeal savings. The sheer administrative overhead of tracking down warranties, coordinating service calls, and managing 30 different master contracts is staggering. Single providers completely bypass this, offering far superior, predictable cost planning for the entire lifetime of the hospital.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that this strategy isn't just about surgical lights and medical gas. No, it's about a fundamental shift in large-scale project management, moving away from fragmented, chaotic buying toward unified, streamlined partnerships. The efficiencies you gain in timelines, integration, maintenance, and true cost, they are absolutely undeniable. So I want to leave you with this thought. Look at your own large-scale projects. How could adopting a single-source approach transform procurement and leadership in your own industry? Could consolidating your vendors eliminate the bottlenecks that are holding your team back right now? It is a fascinating paradigm shift to consider. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.